Mary Stevens started having serious conversations about setting up a memories group. There have been whispers around the ropes about the memories groups that had been started by a chap called Mike White and Hoyt, and these have developed all around the country. It was a serious conversation that Mary started then have with Bert, who then really took up the challenge and got this going. And as I say, that was 5 years ago, and whilst people like Jerry Keating, myself, Derek Pattle, have helped bring certain people along to speak to the groups, by distance it's Bert who's done all the heavy lifting with getting people here, going through the fret of making sure that someone who's not getting anything more than a bottle of wine actually turns up on the day when we announced he would be here, and he's never failed us. He has never failed us. So after 5 years, he's decided to put his cube back in the rack and say, right chaps, someone else do it for us. But we are greatly obliged to you, Bert. I think it speaks volumes that we have days when we have 20, 30, 40, and sometimes 60 people here. And you know, it's Bert, it's Bert, it's Bert, and well done, Bert. We're greatly obliged to you. We would be obliged if you would kindly come up, Mary would come up too, and take a small token of our appreciation, Bert, if you would come up.
Accept it. And with our thanks.
And additionally, chaps, as we all know, behind every successful man is an astonished mother-in-law. Liz has been a great, Bert's wife Liz has been a great help to us, and would you please, with our appreciation, give it to her. Liz is on grandma duty today, I think, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
She's coming in later on.
Oh, we'll take it back then. So
you take this to Liz and give her a kiss too. And give her a kiss too. Okay, but sorry.
Yeah, when you go to police.
Sorry. I had a few words written, but you know, I'm just going to take these. Anyway, yes, it came by, as you know, Duncan has Alzheimer's, and through that, through the club, I knew that there was golfing memories, there was football memories, but I hadn't heard of rugby memories. So in a conversation with Mike, he put me in touch with Mike White, and the rest is history. It's grown arms and legs, and a big thank you to Bert, the rugby club as well, for letting us have this venue for the meetings. But thank you to Bert for keeping us up to date with all the information and all the dates and the calendars and the speakers and great speakers.
Certainly learned a lot how to work a computer. Then.
That's good. Well, at least something. That's good. And just to say, well, a lot of you asked about Duncan, and he is fine, although 2 weeks ago he had a seizure, so that worried us a bit, but he's picking up fine, and they're keeping a good eye on him and observing him, so they're looking after him well. So, anyway, all the best in your retirement. But I do hope you're going to be able to come to the memories group.
I will come if I remember. What has been missed out is the fact that without you guys coming along, we wouldn't have a memories group. We started, I think, the first one way back in 2017. I think there was about 12 people turned up. Jerry and I were tasked by Ken to get 10 people each. Halfway through trying to get it, Jerry phoned me and says, look there, I'm still working. Could you just carry on and do it? So the rest history. But the most we've had is 67, which I think is marvellous. And again, you guys, month after month, come along, and I can only thank you. And it's without you guys, there's no use me or anybody else getting speakers. And it's interesting when you do go and speak to them, or you get a contact. I've only had 2 refusals, and both of them have been the professional rugby guys. Monday seems to be a bad day to get anybody from either Edinburgh or Glasgow. But and I've always said, and I carry on saying it, if I got a contact, it was pretty easy for me to contact them, and nobody, as I said, apart from the professional guys, nobody ever said no. We may have to juggle dates, but that was it. But anyway, thanks again, guys, and I appreciate this, and I'm quite sure Liz will appreciate it as well, because she's quite into her flowers. So thanks again.
Right, folks. Can you seriously, can you hear me at the back? I know you can. Yeah, fine, thank you. Tom Kerr, who we all know, is going to speak to us. And in all seriousness, Tom and I play a lot of golf together. We take the mickey out of each other. I'm really obliged to you, Tom. We pulled this out for slight hole. Fraser Brown was going to speak today, but exactly as Bert said, suddenly at the last home, he got this commitment to Glasgow Warriors that he had to be at training for this particular part of the week, and he will come back to us at some point. Tom, very, very kindly, having just been away for 3 weeks for that, came off the bench, and he's going to speak to us. Let me just read a wee bit about this. I'm going to state off the CV that Tom sent to me. And I have to say, Tom and I first met Tom when I started playing cricket at Bog Hall. Tom actually captained the county at Bog Hall, and he became wicket-keeper. He very quickly got the nickname of the Ancient Mariner because he stopped as one of 3. Some of you have got a literally might get that one up. Obviously, that fell on stony ground. Anyway, here we go. Let me read this. Tom was at Linlithgow Primary School in the academy from 51 to 62. He then became a cadet chief engineer with VP from 62 to 76. Did many great things, including taking a 300,000-ton tanker, good God, to Nagasaki. And he was chief engineer, quite an accomplishment. Then from 76 to 83, he was lecturer at Glasgow Nautical College. Then in 83 to 86, he had a training contract in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia with the Inchcape Group. And then, for quite a while, from 86 to 2002, he was self-employed with his own marine consultancy and survey work. But it was back in 92 that he was elected councillor, this is where we know Tom best, for the St Michael's Order of Linlithgow on West Lothian District Council. From 96 to 2007, he was elected councillor for the reformed Linlithgow Ward to West Lothian Council, and then from 2007, he was provost of West Lothian. And now, from the 5th of May, since the election, he's now retired. But when you think about it, 30 years as a councillor, it's a big deal. 15 years as provost, big deal. Well done, Tom. And, you know, that's a serious well done, because I don't think anyone's been a councillor for 30 years. I don't think anyone's been a provost for 15 years. Anyway, Tom is going to talk to us. We'll then have a break, we'll have a cup of coffee, tea or what have you, and then we'll do a Q&A afterwards. At the end of this morning's get-together, for those of you who want, for the 50th anniversary dinner, Colin Watson's daughter, Lindsay, put together a fantastic historical video. It lasts for about 8 minutes, Colin, about the pub history, and we're going to show it at the end. So it's on the big screen at the back if anyone wants to stay and have a look at it. Super. But folks, if you'd be so kind, could you show your appreciation for Tom Kerr?
Michael. Can everyone hear me? Do I need to use this thing? Yes. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes. Can you do without this? Are you?
People in the past have said that they had difficulty.
Oh, okay, then I'll use it then. Michael did a quick resume of my CV there, but I'd just like to start by one memory that I do have, and that memory is here when I used to attend Linlithgow Primary School, which was the school at the Westport there. There was the wee school and the big school. The wee school's demolished now, but the big school is still there. And when you got to primary 6 or 7, we had a football team, and we used to play here at the upper mains. And my memory of that is they still had full-size goalposts, and we were what, 10, 11. And I found I scored a hell of a lot of goals. Because this wee chap and these massive goals was so easy to beat. So that was my memory here, and I'll come back to the upper and lower mains in a while, a bit later on. But I'd like to talk to you mainly about my time in local government. I could ram it on for a long time about my marine experience, because I went to sea when it was wooden ships and iron men, iron ships and wooden men. But in 1992 I got elected to the district council, and Jimmy McGinley was made the convener at that time. And the council, again, as most councils are now, was a hung council. And there was something like two of us, two Conservatives and an independent, actually had the sort of balance of power even at that time. But Jimmy, who was the convener, he really was a bit of a showman as well. But in 1992, it was the 20th anniversary of the Hochsauerland twinning. West Lothian is twinned with Hochsauerland in Germany. And Jimmy decided to take out of the 24 councillors, 16 of us to Germany that year. And through my political experiences, I've suffered pleasure, I've suffered embarrassment, I've suffered a whole range of things. But I want to tell you about one of the most embarrassing moments. It did happen on that visit to Germany. Now, Hochsauerland is where the dams are, that the dam busters had to go at. The Moan, the Hennessy, the Ida. And the Moonsea Dam is the one that they actually burst. And you can walk across the top of that dam. And we were there with some of our German friends, and I'm walking, speaking fluently in German, across, when in front of me was a fellow councillor who I will not name. But he was maybe about 5 or 6 metres ahead of us, and he was speaking. And then all of a sudden I heard this. Okay, Roger, coming along. I could have jumped over the dam. But on that visit, we also, the Bock Holland Bathgate Pipe Band had been very successful in the World Championships, and we had the Bock Holland Bathgate Pipe Band with us on that visit. And if any of you have been to Arnsberg in Germany, quite a number of the Linlithgow Academy pupils have been to Arnsberg. I know my daughter was over there because there was almost a link between Arnsberg and the Linlithgow Academy, and visits took place regularly. It was a Sunday morning, and Jimmy had been invited to open this art exhibition. And Arnsberg, traditional German town, the sort of main drive walks uphill, there's a clock tower at the top, and the place that he had to open was on the right-hand side at the top of the road. And the pipe band, being a pipe band, were supposed to march in front of us. But before they can march and play, they have to tune up their pipes. Now, at 9:30 on a Sunday morning, these pipers were in doorways up and down the street. And I've never seen so many shutters of windows to the screaming of these pipes. But anyway, that was the sort of start of my experience on local government, which I thought was going to be great fun. Unfortunately, we had to come home. But during that 4 years, from 92 to 96, I have to say, we had some success as a council. We built the leisure centre up there, and some of you may recall when the rugby club wanted to get the lower mains. That was one of the few occasions where Jimmy and me parted company. Jimmy almost turned it into a football against rugby contest, because I was convinced, going to build this leisure centre with 4 or 5 football pitches up there, we didn't need another football pitch at the lower mains. By the way, can anyone remember when it was the dog track down there? Hector, yeah. Right, I've got people just about my age here as well. Where was I? I was on about the football. The football pitch. The football at the lower mains, yes. And Jimmy wanted to protect it as a football pitch, and it went to a vote in the council, and I managed to win the vote on that occasion. So that is really how the rugby club got to lower mains, and I think what they've done down there is absolutely tremendous, and it's been a great success, I would say, as has the club itself. In the way it's expanded and developed, and having just gone next door, been invited by Hector to have a look at the building set up for the Marches dance. That's going to be a tremendous venue for the future as well. So 92 to 96, the district council, along came 96, when we had to really fight quite strongly to get West Lothian as a unitary council. There was quite a number of people who wanted to divide us up into other areas, but we were successful. So in 96, the districts and the regions disappeared, which had been set up under the Wheatley Committee. We went into the unitary council situation, and once again we found ourselves in a position where the council was hung. In other words, no political party had a majority, and that has been the case ever since then. I've been in, how could I say, collaboration with Labour and the SNP. And for the first 5 years, the only way that we could get a majority was in fact with Peter Johnson and the SNP. And it's so critical in government that you have the authority to actually get things done. Otherwise you're flipping back and forward every month, every 6 months. That turned out to be quite a successful administration, because we had the banking crisis, where we had to reduce our staff on the council quite extensively. We reduced our directors from, I think, 9 down to 4. We reduced our heads of service from 24 down to 11. And that allowed us to make substantial savings, which took us through the economic problems that were obviously there for local government and for the country. Then up comes 2007, and I was honoured to be made provost in 2007. And that has lasted for 3 terms, 3 5-year terms. A lot of experiences as provost. It was a privilege, it was an honour to be the provost of West Lothian. But some of the highlights during that time, one has to be to give the freedom of West Lothian to the Royal Regiment. The Royal Scots had the freedom of Linlithgow historically, and it's only a local authority that can actually give the freedom to the regiment. So in 2011, we gave the freedom to the new Royal Regiment of Scotland. That was, and they have taken the opportunity twice to march with bayonets at Livingston and once at the marches before the pandemic hit us. Also, there's been a lot of interesting things have happened since I've been provost. Take you through 1 or 2 of them. Can anyone remember Leon Jackson, who won the X Factor from Whitburn? Yes, right. Well, we got calls to say that he had got through the previous one, and he was bringing him up to Livingston, and he was going to do a 2-song concert at the Livingston Centre. And they would very much like the provost to introduce him. So they had set up this, it was almost like a boxing ring outside Marks and Spencer's at MacArthur Glen. And Lear was there, so up on the stage I got, chain on, it was very easy. Because all you had to say was, everyone here going to vote for Liam? Yeah. Everyone in West Lothian? Yeah. Everyone in Scotland? Yeah. And at that, a pair of knickers could fly down to the stage. I'm not finished with that. So I carried on for a little bit longer, and lo and behold, a red bracken winging onto the stage and landed on my shoulder. I said, that was for me, son, not you. And when they showed the film on the Saturday night, they missed that out. I was really disappointed. But the following week, we found that the turnover at Marks and Spencer's had dropped considerably in the previous week. So, dear knows how many pairs of knickers and how many bras, because the thing was set up immediately outside it. Another enjoyable event was Susan Boyle. Now, Susan, I'm going to try to be as polite as I possibly can. We got calls from Harper's Magazine, CNN in America, Radio China, all coming into our communications department and the council regarding Susan reaching the final. And we also got a telephone call from Thames Television saying that they were going to be bringing Susan up, and we'd like the provost to come along and meet in the Happy Valley pub in Blackburn. Now, it's no longer called the Happy Valley pub. I struggled to find it. Anyway, we went along to we came up, went to the pub, nobody there. And then we got another phone call to say, oh, we're just going along to her house. So we drove along to the house, and as we got along the street where she lived, there were all sorts of people there, sticking cards, well done Susan cards through the doors. And this bit's, a lot of these people were the people who had actually been taking a rise out of her for several years. That was the sad thing about it. And they were letting absolutely nobody into the house. As I said to Anne, the driver, I says, Anne, why don't you go up and just ask if she'll see the provost? So, lo and behold, I'm in. Susan comes out. Oh, I can't tell you where I'm going. I'm not allowed to tell you what I'm going to do next. They had really briefed her on what she could say and what she couldn't say. But they had a heavy on the door, Frankie. And I had heard that Demi Moore, the actress, had become a big fan of Susan's. So when I was speaking to Susan, I said, Susan, if you get to meet Demi Moore, I would love to meet her as well. Behind me from Frankie came, after my might. But Susan was a phenomenon. She was in the marquee down here judging for us at a talent show we had, and she seems to be doing quite well. So these were a couple of the experiences which I've had, amusing experiences. Other things that I really enjoyed doing was, in fact, with the Lord Lieutenant, we used to visit people who were celebrating their 60th, 65th or 70th wedding anniversaries. Also, people who had reached 100 or 105. And in the 15 years, I think, or I know, that we had seven 70th wedding anniversaries. I can tell you it was a real pleasure to speak to people that we were meeting there. The varied memories were incredible, going back decades and decades. I can tell you, far better doing that than trying to chair the council meeting. I must admit, most of the councillors during, and for 15 years, as I say, I've chaired the council meeting, most councillors are well behaved. but there are one or two who are not well behaved. And in the early days, I had a gavel in the chambers. And on one occasion, this particular councillor was getting really totally out of order. He would not shut up. I'm not going to tell you where he's from or his name. So I picked up the gavel and I banged it and the head came off. The only thing is it went in the wrong direction. But now it was much easier latterly because we went on to a speaker system and I had the ability to mute. And it was even better when you were doing the virtual meetings because you had real control there. Real power. You could knock the audio off, you could knock the video off. So really, I could go on a lot about the experiences I had as provost. But what I would like to do, and I'm sure there might be some, please do not ask me political questions, okay? You can ask me any questions you like, but I would avoid, I will not answer party political questions, unless they're in my favour.
We'll have a coffee first before we do. Yeah, I think what we'll, you've done what you
Yes.
What we might do, folks, now is have a tea or coffee, then come back, and Tom might do those Q&As, if you'd be so kind.
Is that not giving them too long to think up questions?
Tom, we're greatly obliged to you.